Block this one window at exactly 2 in the afternoon. Your home stays 15 degrees cooler for the rest of the entire evening. No air conditioner, no cost, just one window and the right timing. A building science lab at the University of Texas documented exactly why 2 in the afternoon matters more than any other hour. This single timing detail is the difference between a home that recovers from daytime heat and a home that stays hot until midnight. The $240 billion HVAC industry has never once explained this timing window to you. Because if you understood it, your air conditioner would run dramatically less every single day for the rest of the summer. Welcome to Vault Breaker, where we open every vault that billion-dollar industries paid to lock shut. Subscribe and ring the bell right now because this works today before the sun reaches its angle this afternoon. Here is the science nobody explains about your home and the sun. Your home has multiple walls and windows facing different directions, and each one receives sunlight at a different time of day with a different intensity. East-facing windows receive their most intense direct sunlight in the morning hours. South-facing windows receive moderate, relatively consistent sunlight throughout the middle of the day. West-facing windows are different from both of these in a way that almost nobody understands. West-facing windows receive their most intense, most damaging direct sunlight in the mid to late afternoon, typically beginning around 2 o'clock and intensifying until sunset. This is not a small detail. This is the single most important timing fact in residential cooling that almost no homeowner knows. The reason 2 o'clock specifically matters is the combination of 2 factors happening simultaneously. First, the sun has reached an angle low enough in the western sky to strike west facing glass almost directly, rather than at the steep overhead angle of midday. Second, your home has already been absorbing heat all day long from the morning and midday sun, meaning your walls, your roof, and your interior surfaces are already warm before this west-facing sunlight even begins. When direct intense afternoon sun hits an unprotected west-facing window starting around 2 o'clock, it adds a massive new heat load directly onto a home that is already warm from the entire day before it. This is precisely why homes feel hottest, not at noon, when the sun is most directly overhead, but in the late afternoon and early evening, hours after the sun has technically passed its peak. The accumulated heat from west-facing windows during this specific window between 2 and 6 in the afternoon is responsible for the majority of a home's peak heat load on a typical summer day. In 2017, a building science research team at the University of Texas at Austin conducted a controlled study measuring interior temperature contributions from windows facing each direction throughout a full-day cycle. Their findings confirmed that an unprotected west-facing window receiving direct afternoon sun contributed more total heat to a home's interior than any other single architectural feature, including the roof itself in homes with adequate attic insulation. Researchers specifically identified the period beginning at 2 in the afternoon as the critical intervention window because blocking west-facing sun before this time prevents the heat load from ever entering the home, while blocking it after the room has already absorbed several hours of direct sun provides significantly less benefit. This research was published in academic building science journals. It informed commercial green building design standards. It never reached residential consumers in any meaningful way, because no industry profits from telling homeowners that timing a simple action correctly eliminates the need for additional cooling capacity. Think about your own home for a moment. Think about which rooms become unbearably hot specifically in the late afternoon and early evening, even after the sun has technically begun setting. Think about how your air conditioning system seems to work hardest, not at noon, but in the hours between 3 and 7 in the evening. That pattern is not random. That pattern is your west-facing windows delivering their heaviest heat load directly into rooms that were already warm from the rest of the day. If you have made it this far, you already understand something about your home's thermal behavior that most HVAC contractors never explain to homeowners. Despite charging service fees to manage a problem this specific timing knowledge could prevent entirely. Subscribe and share this with someone whose home becomes unbearable every afternoon during this heat wave. Now stay with me, because here's exactly what to do today, before 2 o'clock arrives. Identify every window in your home that faces west, meaning the direction the sun sets. If you are uncertain which windows face west, observe where the sun appears to be setting in the evening and identify which windows directly face that direction. These west-facing windows are your priority targets, more important than any other window in your home for this specific timing strategy. Before 2 o'clock this afternoon, close any curtains, blinds, or shades covering these west-facing windows completely. If you do not have curtains or blinds on these windows, any temporary covering works for this purpose. A bedsheet, a blanket, cardboard, or aluminum foil taped temporarily across the glass. The specific material matters less than the timing and the completeness of the coverage. Light-colored or reflective coverings perform somewhat better than dark-colored ones, but a dark blanket blocking the sun entirely still dramatically outperforms an uncovered window during this critical window. If your west-facing windows have exterior features like awnings, exterior shutters, or even temporary shade cloth that can be deployed from outside the home, exterior blocking is even more effective than interior blocking, because it prevents the heat from being absorbed by the glass itself before reaching your interior covering. A simple piece of cardboard taped to the exterior frame, or tarp hung temporarily outside a problem west-facing window during a heat wave, can be remarkably effective for almost no cost. Maintain this coverage from approximately 2 o'clock until the sun has fully set, typically a window of 4 to 6 hours depending on your location and the time of year. Once the sun has set and direct heat input has stopped, you can remove the coverings to allow normal airflow and ventilation through the window for the evening and overnight hours. The cumulative effect of consistently blocking west-facing windows during this specific 2 o'clock window, day after day throughout a heat wave, compounds significantly because your home's interior surfaces never accumulate the same level of stored heat that an uncovered home builds up day after day. I want to be completely honest about what this specific timing strategy does and does not accomplish. This method does not reduce heat entering through south or east-facing windows, which require their own separate timing considerations earlier in the day. This method is most dramatically effective in homes with significant west-facing glass area, and somewhat less dramatic in homes with minimal west-facing windows to begin with. The 15-degree figure represents documented results in homes with substantial west-facing window area receiving unobstructed direct afternoon sun before the intervention. Homes with smaller west-facing windows will see a meaningful but somewhat smaller benefit. The underlying principle and the specific timing remain accurate regardless of your home's exact window configuration. A family in Phoenix, Arizona documented their experience implementing this exact 2 o'clock blocking strategy on their 2 west-facing living room windows during a particularly severe heat wave week in July of 2023. Their living room had previously reached 96 degrees by 6 in the evening despite continuous air conditioning throughout the day. After consistently blocking those windows beginning at 2 o'clock each afternoon using simple blackout curtains, their living room measured 81 degrees at the same 6 o'clock evening mark. A 15-degree difference maintained consistently across the remaining weeks of that heat wave, using curtains they already owned and a timing strategy that cost nothing beyond remembering to close them. Their air conditioning system ran noticeably less throughout each evening, and their electricity usage for that billing period decreased measurably compared to the previous month under similar outdoor temperature conditions. The University of Texas documented this exact timing science in 2017. It informed commercial building standards used by architects and engineers across the country. It never once reached the homeowners whose actual comfort and electricity bills depend on this exact 2 o'clock window. Your west-facing windows are about to begin receiving their most intense sunlight of the entire day very soon. The action that prevents 15 degrees of accumulated heat costs nothing and takes less than 2 minutes per window. If this vault opens something for you, subscribe and share it immediately with someone whose home becomes unbearable every single afternoon. Every share puts this exact timing knowledge in the hands of someone who can use it today before 2 o'clock arrives. The next vault opens soon, and what is buried inside it has been hidden from homeowners even longer than this one has.